I'm holding on. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the I Talk Back Sports Show. I'm joined by my best friend, Jamal Bonner. Say hi to the people.
Hi, people, and hi, Kay.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about NBA, some NFL, and Jamal's favorite event, the Major League Baseball All Star Game.
Wait, what?
Would you like to give the people a shout out, Jamal?
Certainly. I want to give a shout out to Coco Gauff, who had a really nice run at Wimbledon this year and who is giving us another wonderful person of color to keep an eye out for in the future as the Williams sisters' careers seem to be winding down. So, shout out to Coco. Continued success. What about you, Kay?
I would like to give a shout out to the resilient, beautiful Serena Williams. Her time is not done yet. She's still eyeing number 24. So I want to wish her well in Wimbledon. And also, I would like to just put her into my read, okay? Let me tell you something that maybe a lot of people's parents hadn't told them when they were little, that we're all born in different colors, shapes, and sizes. If someone is different from you, find something about them to admire, okay? She's an athlete, she has an athletic build. So let's all just embrace her beautifulness and not be so critical of what God made. She's a beautiful human being, Jamal.
Yes, she is, and especially on that cover, that it is just she's a wonderful human being, and that yeah, it's she is amazing to actually see, not only when she's working but also off the court as well. It's a beautiful woman.
Nobody shaming.
Absolutely not. No, 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 no. She has muscles, and that it's that you have to, I guess, fall into one category or another. Either you have to be uber thin or I don't know, a rail of some sort, or what they call regular size, because otherwise you're either considered to be too muscular, or you're
Or you,
considered to be obese. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. Why don't
Love
you
you, Bree.
let's just let people live. Let people live, right? So I concur with everything that you said about the wonderful Serena Williams, and my favorite photo so far, though, at least recently, is the one where she's holding her daughter while she's on the cycle. Just like,
Yeah,
so mommy still got to work. Mommy still got to work.
that's right. Make that money, girl.
Yep. So that being said, we are going to kick around a few things for a little while, and so good to see you, Barbie. It's been a
Good to
minute.
see you. Okay, so what do you think about the Oakland Raiders on Hard Knocks this year, the HBO show? What do you think about them?
I was really not that interested in it until you pointed out something offline that has really actually opened my eyes. That Antonio Brown and Vontez Burfict are going to be on the team. So that with Chucky is going to make this kind of a combustible situation, I hope, and some fairly decent TV throughout the preseason. So while I don't feel any kind of way about the Raiders at this point, since they're going to actually leave Oakland after this year, I am looking forward to some good entertainment. Hopefully, they're as good as the Texans were a couple of years back. What about you, Kay?
Well, they were 4-12 last year, and like Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns, they had like a very poor record going into the off season with the show being filmed. So I think it's kind of a good thing if at the end they have a successful season. But right now, it just looks like a train wreck about to happen. it, I don't really know how well Chucky deals with different personalities. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I guess it'll be interesting to see a little bit of his coaching style. I mean, we see him after his coaching career doing a lot of training of quarterbacks
Yep.
and things like that, and he's
Hmm.
pretty good at that. So I just want to see him dealing with all kinds of players of different positions. So I'm gonna watch.
I completely agree, and I think that it's going to be interesting to see, at least from a train wreck perspective. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Sorry, but not sorry. That's just what I'm looking forward to. So, let me kind of take things in a different direction momentarily. So today, the Women's World Cup team, the American women's winning World Cup team,
Whoop,
Team
whoop.
USA, had a ticker tape parade through the Canyon of Champions in New York City. That was very well attended. The governor and the mayor with proclamations, keys to the city, and no real controversy. But what were your thoughts on the Women's World Cup team?
I would love to say that I've watched a match, but I did, keep up with the winnings, and they just kept going, kept going, kept going. Um, for a non fan,
Hmm.
there was a lot coming out about one of the ladies, and how she took a stance after Colin Kaepernick's kneeling.
Hmm.
So, I mean, she was the most prominent thing that came out of there if you weren't just watching each of the matches.
Hmm.
I'm glad that we won another cup of the women, because women are badass, so I'm happy for them. I would like to say, more about the actual matches, but that's why I have you. So give me some.
The actual Women's World Cup was really actually interesting, just from a standpoint of watching the other teams playing and seeing what would take place. But I mean, once they opened up the World Cup with a 13 no win, that was actually kind of embarrassing. But otherwise, they had some pretty interesting matches, and that they managed to duke it out with the English women. That was a really tough match to watch in the semifinals, and had a lot of controversy surrounding it. Piers Morgan making comments about the team and that they're a bunch of blowhards and that sort of thing. And that the win against I believe it was the Netherlands? Yeah, against the Netherlands was just kind of an icing on the cake thing. I am hoping that the pay disparity, which is the other thing that has come up from this World Cup, gets straightened out. That you have a team that has won 3 straight World Cups and they're making 50K, as opposed to the men, had they won the World Cup, would be getting 500K per person.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. There's a huge pay disparity. And that it to me is one of those, get on board, get this fixed, get this straightened out. And that women's soccer and women's athletics in general really need to have a bigger and broader platform in which to show their stuff, as opposed to being relegated to ESPN2 or some secondary channel in the middle of the afternoon when nobody can see what they're doing.
Hmm. Agreed.
So, along those lines, speaking of which, there has been throughout the World Cup, and Team USA has been on the burner, shall we say, for their celebrations. Do you think there is a celebration double standard for women versus men?
Well, yes. I mean, even last year in tennis, the difference between Serena getting upset or saying something versus the millions of times we've seen men get upset on the tennis court and nothing ever being said. I think people really need to get over their thoughts about how women are supposed to be, because those 1950s, 1960s thoughts are not what's happening now. So let us win, be great, and celebrate the way that we want, and just not worry about it. We're not cookie cutter. We're not that.
To
What do
everything,
you
to everything you said, I completely agree, and I think that it we men are supposed to be exuberant and excited and show emotion and celebration. Well, except in the NFL, no, and in Major League Baseball. But anyway, yeah, um, we're supposed to show emotion, but not too much emotion. And that the skewering that they gave the women's soccer team was absolutely ridiculous. And it was just kind of one of those, get out of here. They kept their shirts on. Men take their shirts off after celebrating goals. They slide across the field. They have choreographed dancing, et cetera, et cetera. And so it was just one of those, are we really doing this now, people? Is that what you all have? Is that you have nothing better to do than to sit there and get on how they celebrate? Yeah, so we need to work on that. So it is the middle of July at the taping of the show, and I'm a very happy person because for once in a long, it's been a while since this happened, I feel, but for once we can still talk about the NBA in July and it's relevant. So let me go back. I hadn't talked to you about this. What were your thoughts on the NBA Finals overall?
Well, I was shocked, surprised, in a very good way. The last maybe 3 or 4 years, you and I, we sit here, well, me mainly, just say how uninteresting the sport is, NBA. How interested. We already know what's going to happen. We know who's going to be in the finals. We know, but I didn't know. I didn't know prior to the finals beginning that, we were going to have a new champion. Was it interesting? Yes. Was it entertaining? Yes. It was everything, Jamal. It was everything I needed and more. And I want to congratulate the Toronto Raptors for winning. I got to hear two national anthems before each game. Kind of like the Olympics where you get to hear the different. You didn't like that? Okay, so let's throw that out. But I really enjoyed what I saw, and I actually watched all the games.
Hmm. So it's not because I'm a Golden State fan by any stretch of the imagination. They're players that I like. I don't like Toronto. I would have been interested if Milwaukee had made it. I'd have been fine
Well,
if the Bucks had beaten the Raptors like I thought they should have. I'd have been that might have been interesting to me. And if they had actually won out, that Giannis winning, that would have been great for me. I would have liked that. I would have
but
been
didn't the best team win though,
no,
Jamal?
no, no, no. The best team for me, the best team didn't win. However, and I'm going to put an asterisk here. The team that won is the team that won, and that is regardless of the various injuries to key people on the team that lost. Because this team also has benefited from key injuries in their previous finals wins. So while I'm not a fan of Toronto, I am going to say it's going to make life very interesting going forward, and that long live the Warriors. They seem to have had a very nice run. So that being said, for you, the Kevin Durant uproar, justified or too much considering the situation?
I don't get what the uproar is. The man can go anywhere he wants, just the way that he left one team and went to another. It's expected for him because he's done it before to do it again. So I don't know why anyone would be in an uproar over that. He doesn't know anyone anything except his manager and his agent. That's all he owes anything to. Okay.
Hmm.
So I'm not surprised that he left. I am surprised that he went to Brooklyn, but maybe that's something having to do with maybe Jay-Z or something. Um, I'm not really sure why the Knicks got left all the way out of the picture, of any of this good stuff happening. I guess it's having to do with management. Um, I'm not surprised.
It's funny
Too
you
much of a big deal. Hmm.
It's funny you say that, actually. What I will say to you, a little insider information that's floating around here in the New York area, is that he was very interested in playing for the Knicks until they traded away Porzingis. And the way the national media spun it was that Porzingis didn't want to play with Durant, but as we allowed things to kind of settle, because he wanted to be the man, supposedly, is the way the national media spun it. So we fast forward to the summer, and the story is starting to come out about, oh yeah, KD actually was very interested in playing with Porzingis. In fact, he's the one who gave him his nickname, the Unicorn, and that Porzingis really liked him. Kevin Durant really liked him, and so there was something you said about management that was ultimately what did it. Was the New York management also didn't want to pay him max salary because the owner was concerned about his injury. So yes, the man went across the bridge to Brooklyn to play and ruined my life because I'm never going to be able to see them play. Oh, well, first of all, he's going to be out this year, so there's that. But I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to see the Nets play once KD comes back because them tickets is going to be expensive. Hopefully Kyrie will learn to pass the ball, but we'll deal with that come October. So, in general, twofold question. From what you saw as a football person, what were your thoughts on the NBA free agency? And is there, from the free agency, do you feel there's now more parity within the NBA?
Yeah, I think the NBA is very much an equal two superstar type of thing, across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at this point right now, it is more important for everyone to have a good bench.
Yes.
A good bench.
Yes.
Because the players, they're going to cancel each other out for the most part, the superstars. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about who they're playing with.
Mm-hmm.
And also a lot has to do with coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to substitute at the right time, giving the players the right amount of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm very happy for all the movement that took place. I thought that it was actually really quite exciting, even though my team in particular, but still, that you had all of this wonderful movement and major players going from one team to another, so that come October, we're going to have a long episode about who went where. But
a recap.
Yeah. But I like that it is no longer that all of the big guns are out west, that there are a number of big guns in the East, and that the East will be even better next year when Durant is back. I should say the fall of 2020, not this coming year, but the next season. But in the meantime, Toronto, sorry, you had your chance. But I'm if they get Westbrook to Miami, the East is going to be ridiculous night in, night out. And the West is still going to be the West. It's still going to be a bunch of shootouts. But yeah, I like the parity. So yeah, I don't want to talk about that. We'll come back to that next time. I'm still salty about my Lakers. What do you feel about your Mavericks?
Okay, well, I would like to get you to give us your feelings because you are a Laker fan. Okay,
Too soon.
And not today,
okay,
but in
fair.
the future,
Yes.
that would be important to get that information from you.
Yes.
So I want to ask you a question.
Shoot.
Do you know where the 2019 Major League Baseball game, All-Star game was held? Do you know where it was?
I do not. Cleveland?
Do you know who won the home run derby in the All-Star game?
I do. Alonso from my Mets.
So at least you know something about the All-Star game. This is probably the most untalked about, All-Star game
Mm-hmm.
that I've known about in history.
Yeah.
No one's talked about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's up with that, Jay?
I, it's baseball. It, I have a theory, and that is that baseball kind of got left in the dark this time by the presence of basketball going into July, and that normally coming up to the All-Star game, there's baseball is the only thing that's going from after the draft. Um, yeah, after the draft, it's just baseball. But for some reason, this year, the NFL, I mean, not the NFL, but the NBA just had so much momentum. And that I forgot that there was even a baseball all-star game until, what was it, Monday night when I heard about Home Run Derby?
Okay. Yeah, they still need to fix that. Having it overshadowed by the NBA is not a good excuse. So maybe we should send them some suggestions in the future.
Nah, it's fine. I'm happy with it. I mean, okay, so if I saw this stat correctly, and correct me if I'm incorrect, 8 straight wins by the American League. Is that true?
Yes, I believe so.
Nah, that's all right, bro. That's all right. I don't need to get into that. I can live my life just fine without watching the American League win yet again, and thus having the home field advantage in the World Series, which is still stupid. You have to do the best record. You win the All-Star game, and
Yeah,
you
it's
get
too much riding on
yeah,
it
yeah.
for you to keep losing. Yeah.
Right. This is stupid. But yeah. So how was the All-Star game for you? Did you enjoy it?
I didn't really hear anything about it, and sorry.
So at this stage, your Texas Rangers are, I believe, are they still in second place?
I believe that they are. They have been winning a little bit more than expected.
Uh-huh. What can you
Um,
attribute it to?
well, I think we can say it is offense. I didn't think they had very much because they got a lot of the stuff that they had from the year before. Nothing really changed with the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we got a little bit more hitting and a bunch of our starters being able to go a little bit further into the game,
Mm-hmm.
to the games than normal. So that's what I think it is.
Okay. So, so leading up to the All-Star game, the Rangers did go for their last 10, 4-6. Currently, they do have a losing road record and are sitting 9 games out of
And
first
40,
place. Right, at 48
yeah,
and
they're
42.
48 and
They're above
42.
500, though,
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
whoop whoop. That's what we're gonna take. Hmm.
But in terms of the wild card, they're definitely on the outside looking in. So they have a little bit of work to do. They're only a couple of games. They're a game and a half behind the Oakland A's, who are in second place, and that they could leapfrogging the
Yeah, it's
A's
the
will
middle
put
of the
them.
season. We
Yeah,
still have time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, yeah. Leapfrogging the A's will put them in prime position to be into the wild card race. So plenty of time. We won't talk about the other team. So yeah. So while we were away, a strange baseball happening took place that captivated everyone for a couple of weeks. And as it's kind of been pushed to the back page, details are still being sorted out. But while in the Dominican Republic at the beginning of June, Big Papi was shot in the back in a local bar. And that after a few hours and some locals grabbing the shooter and beating the crap out of him, that the police managed to round up about 9 people, and that they all seem to be in one way or another involved in this shooting. Now, Barbie, from what you recall, what was the latest that you had heard on this?
I just heard that he was taken to the hospital. But what I think about this whole thing
Mm-hmm.
is, and this is really the point where I said I wasn't going to go to the Dominican last week. I was supposed to go,
Mm-hmm.
is because if you can shoot a native person, like I'm not going there.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone so well known, you recognize him. You can't say you confuse him with Joe Schmo. That man don't look like nobody else I've never seen. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that really was the tipping point. Whatever it had to do with, it's just a shame that you think you can just shoot someone in front of everyone and get away with it. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and there's another theory that's floating about that Poppy wasn't the actual intended target, that it was somebody seated at his table or seated near him who was wearing a similar shirt, who supposedly turned on the drug dealer who organized this. There's a lot. It was a lot going on because the initial reports were about Poppy having a alleged affair with said drug dealer's wife. So it's one of those. One day, hopefully, the truth will come out or some version of the truth. But
Doesn't even matter, but to tell us something that no one believes, I think that's very it's very hard to deal with. We know you're lying. Whatever you're telling us, it sounds really crazy. So just don't say anything, but don't feed us any BS. We're better than that.
it's amazing to me also that the person who apparently orchestrated this is in the U.S. And I'm quite certain that someone in Washington Heights is trying to figure out, yo, we got to turn this fool in because I mean he shot Big Poppy. I mean it is, even if it is baseball season, still. So we will come back and do some talk on the Cowboys. Overall, let me ask this question: were you happy with the draft?
Overall, yes. I mean, we got something in return, but hey, that's another story. But
Yeah.
we didn't have to pick. We weren't available to pick in the first round, so everything else
Hmm.
went fine. I just want to see it all come together on the field before I really just have an opinion about it. Hell, I'm still unsure about last year's draft. So
Really?
yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, you got to give them for 3 years to get out there and do their thing before
Okay.
you just say great or this is horrible or this is not working. And then we still have the coaching staff or the head coach. So
Oh,
just,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We'll
that's
yeah.
the story.
Yeah. We will. We'll sit down with some drinks and do a nice long interview about the Cowboys before
Exactly. Yeah.
before training camp, or definitely before the beginning of the season. So, um, what have you watched recently?
Oh my gosh. So I know I'm late to the party, but I've watched 5 seasons of Suits. Okay.
Wow.
I'm a little late. Um, I convinced my significant other
Mm-hmm.
to watch um, Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it for the third time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's stuff that I didn't pick up the first 2 times. I don't know if it's napping or too many damn storylines. I don't know what it is. But he agrees with you. It was a little bit rushed in the season 8. So I watched that.
Mm-hmm.
And I started back reading again. So been doing a lot of stuff.
That's good.
Just a lot.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. What about? Tell me about Snowfall, because you were starting to tell me about that before we came on.
Well, like I said, it's based off of the story of Freeway Ricky Williams. It's in its third season, so you have plenty of episodes to watch, and so that we can get caught up on that.
That's
I'm very
great.
excited about that. I got the hookup too. It's coming to movie theaters. I'm gonna go and support the Black Enterprise movie system that we have.
Mm-hmm.
All black everything. So I'm gonna go watch that. Yeah. So that's where I am. What about you?
I have Gosh, I've been doing some reading and nothing too exciting, but what is the last thing that I saw? It's been a minute since I've been in the theater. It's a little depressing, but I got to finish Bosch, and I've got to also work on watching some other things. I'm trying to remember what I'm supposed to be watching right now, but I'll have more later. I can assure you, as soon as this interview is over, I'll have lots of answers for you on what I'm watching. But in the interim, I'm waiting to watch Spider-Man. Let me go with that. I'm very interested in seeing that, and I am also very interested in seeing this movie The Rock has coming out with Jason Statham in a couple of weeks. I'm sorry, I am interested. I don't hold it against me.
Well, Jason Statham is my white husband, so I'm not mad at you for that. I just hope it's not too corny or
Yeah,
too unbelievable. That's
yeah,
all.
yeah. I agree. I hope they keep it in somewhat of a, let's not really just, did y'all really do all this for this money? That's what I'd really like for it not to be. And otherwise, I was watching soccer more than anything, so yeah, I I'm I'm behind. I'm just so behind. So
Okay, but we'll get it. We'll get caught up.
yes, we will. We will get caught up. We'll definitely get caught up. So, where have you eaten that you want to talk about?
Oh, I've been to some places, but I'm gonna have a more detailed report with the names and locations of these places. I'll also put them on the Facebook page. I Talk Back Sports. We're on Facebook, and also um, there's a lot of places I want to try within this week because Restaurant Week is coming up. So I'm going to have a lot of great places for us to
Yay!
talk about.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! I believe our restaurant week is coming up in August here, and that I suspect that there will be a knock on my door at some point.
An aggressive knock or a
An ag-
little tap tap?
Um, it depends, I guess, on what the restaurants are that are mentioned. That I do know that if Florida Mayo comes up, that there may be an aggressive tap. So I did try a place that I want to tell you about today called Smack, and that it is a macaroni and cheese only spot in Lower Manhattan, or excuse me, Midtown, I should say. Have you ever had cheeseburger, hamburger helper in your life?
Oh, yes.
Okay, yeah. That's so I got the cheeseburger, mac and cheese, and no, it was kind of like there was no onion in it, no garlic or anything like that to really kind of make it kind of just
Distinctive, yeah.
yeah, distinctive. So, but I am going to go apparently on a mac and cheese binge, and so there are a couple of restaurants around, in addition to Morgan's Barbecue, that they have their little spot called Elbow Room that is a restaurant inside the restaurant. So there's that, and then there's a spot over in Brooklyn I'm going to try out. But I'll have more details. So in the meantime, all this talk about food is making me hungry. So, Kay, how are your workouts coming, Kay?
They're coming along well.
Yay. That's great. So, all right, with that being said, Kay, I'm going to go eat. So, hope you have a good rest of the week, and we'll talk later.
Okay.